Hey guys, welcome back to more Malicious Compliance Reddit stories. In this Ripestories video, an arrogant VP thought his fancy title made him untouchable. So when he pulled rank on me, overrode my deal and told me to obey him, he expected me to sit there and take it. But instead, I called the CEO on speakerphone and everything changed. Let's dive right into the video. And the first one is titled, "Not even the CEO can do it." Okay, let's find out. So this is from a long time ago, but I thought I would share it. So I bought a laptop from a large Fortune 500 company. We will call this company Bell Computers. After about 2 years, the hinges on the laptop broke and it was almost, but not quite, out of warranty. I called the service center and they refused to replace it. I called, got the runaround, and each time they refused to fix it or even send me the part. Eventually, I was speaking with a low-level customer service manager and I told them I would keep trying to escalate this until someone honored the warranty. Then he replied, "You can escalate this all the way to the CEO," and he would not even do it. Well, it was at that moment it clicked. See, I used to work for a Bell computer company. I did not know the CEO, Mr. Bell, but while I was employed there, he would occasionally send mass emails out to the staff. The email was also a combination of initials and names, so it was easy to remember. Alright then, let's play. I hung up the phone and drafted an email to Mr. Bell, CEO of Bell Computers, just like the helpful customer service rep said I should do. I wrote in the email about being a former employee and how the runaround with customer service was awful and how I just wanted the part to fix my laptop. The next day, I got a phone call from Mr. Bell's executive assistant. I spoke with her for about 15 minutes about everything that happened. She took my info and my computer service number and said that she would forward it to the VP of customer service. I got an email the following day saying it part had shipped. And yeah guys, Packard Bell, that's a name I have not heard in a minute. I gotta say, I really loved the early 2000s of the tech industry. Back then, the whole industry was just so different. Anyway, what is your favorite brand of laptops? Curious, let me know in the comments. Also, if you enjoy the Malicious Compliance stories, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe post a comment because that would help me tremendously. The next one is titled, "How to Get Fired in 5 Minutes." And this is the title story. So I used to work for a marketing company that serviced small and medium-sized businesses all across America. It was a multi-billion-dollar revenue company. The CEO was a true rags to riches story. He joined the company right after he got out of jail in his early 20s for a small drug charge and worked his way up over 20 years to eventually become the CEO of the company. The CEO strongly believed that the success of the company did not come from the brilliant and intelligent minds that he hired for his executive team, but the hard work, sweat and tears of the in-field sales reps, service reps, made sure the customer services were properly installed, collection reps that chased after customers who fell behind on their payments, and the sales managers. He would often say, without sales, we don't have the revenue to pay your salaries. Without customer service, customers will drop us faster than we can bill them. Without collection reps, we would lose too many accounts due to non-payment. And then, without sales managers to hold it all together, we would fall apart. And he had a rule: every single executive team member would spend 1 full week of each quarter in the field with a sales manager, customer service rep, collections rep, or sales rep. And by the way guys, it's funny how all of that has changed. Nowadays, getting good customer service from pretty much any company is basically a luxury. Honestly, for some companies nowadays, you almost gotta be thankful that you can talk to an AI chatbot because it's almost impossible to reach some other companies. Honestly, all of this AI crap is just awful. Anyway, in addition, when they are in the field, they are to submit to whoever they've been assigned to, and they may not pull rank. This applied to everyone, to include the CEO. I know this because the CEO personally rode along with me for 5 days in the field. He was a legit cool guy. I got a story at the end about this, by the way. So apparently, we had hired a new VP of marketing from a major brand that I'm sure everyone in this sub would know of. Anyway, apparently the first time he went in the field, the VP of marketing pulled rank on a sales manager, and the sales manager reported this directly to the CEO. A new quarter went by, and I got an email stating that the VP of marketing will be joining me in the field on such and such week. Okay, cool. Not the first time I had some higher up come out and ride with me, but about an hour later I got a call from my CEO. CEO, PJ, the VP of Marketing is going in the field with you. Yes sir, I got the email, I said. CEO, PJ, I picked you because when I was in the field with you, you seemed like the kind of guy that would not be bullied or let someone run all over you. Me, okay, well, thank you. CEO, this VP is new to the company, and the last time he went in the field, he pulled rank. I've told him not to pull rank again, and if he does, I want you to call me as soon as you can. PJ, I understand. CEO, thank you. The VP meets me up, and honestly, for the first 2 days, everything was fine. However, on the third day, I was meeting with an existing client, and this client was a difficult-to-please customer. He would always say we were not worth the money, but I knew we were because I could see his results. And over the years, this client's business had grown a lot. Said client would beat us up over our pricing, I would stand firm, give him a 3% increase, and offer him upgrades on top. He would haggle me down to a 1.5% increase, and we would sign the contract. Now, I told the VP what would happen, that it would be a long sales call and a difficult high-tense one. But to let me handle it, I've dealt with the client quite a bit and was well prepared. Now, this meeting with the client lasted 2.5 hours, but I'll get to the point. The client wanted a discount and was threatening to go to our competitor. He wouldn't, but that is when the VP spoke up and said, "I'm the VP and I will personally give you a 15% discount on your current plan if you agree to sign a 1-year contract." The customer said, 20%. The VP said, "Split the difference, 17.5%, and we got a deal." They agreed to it. I was mad as hell. One thing to mention, my commissions depended on me generating more revenue, and this VP just effed me over. We get in my car and I go, "You pulled rank that you shouldn't have done that." He said, "I got the deal done." I said, "Had you kept your mouth shut, I would have gotten more money, not given 20% back." He goes, "We got the contract signed." I said, "We gave away tens of thousands of dollars that we didn't need to." He goes, "Look, I'm the VP. Obey me or else we have a problem." I then called my CEO. He saw the name pop up on my car's Bluetooth. CEO answered, "CEO, PJ, how are you doing?" PJ, the VP pulled rank on me and gave my customer a 17.5% discount on his current plan right as I was about to close him for more money. CEO, "That's not right. Where's the VP?" PJ, "You're on speaker, we can hear you." CEO, "Excellent. Hey VP." "Yes, sir." "Tell me what happened." Told his side of the story, and he admitted the truth but also admitted to pulling rank and giving the customer a discount. CEO, "Okay, thanks for your honesty. You are fired." VP, "Excuse me?" CEO, "You're fired. You have a 1-year probation clause. You're done. You don't pull rank when in the field." VP, "You cannot do this." I just did. You are to get on a plane, come back to your office and clean it out. PJ, take Mr. VP back to his hotel and drop him off. PJ, "Sure, no problem." And for the next 20 minutes, I had an awkward car ride back to my former VP's hotel. Later, in an all-hands-on meeting, the CEO made sure to talk about how if an executive is in the field and pulls rank, it's a fireable offense for the executive, and he wants all the sales reps, sales managers, customer service reps, and collection reps to know that. Side story on the CEO, this company had a data plan which gave us 4G on our iPads, phones, and laptops, and well, the company changed the service plan and our data plan went down to only our phones, and we had to hotspot off that. They said this move would save us $80,000 a month. We had like 4,000 employees in the field, and well, 2 months later we had a conference. We had 3 conferences a year, and after the conference everyone went to the hotel bar. That is when I approached my CEO with another sales rep and talked to him about how much of a PITA it was to hotspot all our devices, and how much it drained our phone batteries and blah blah blah, and that I get it saves money, but it also costs productivity. The CEO actually nodded and said, "Tell you what, in 2 weeks the CIO is supposed to go in the field and I will have him go in the field with you, and if he agrees that it is costing our reps productivity and causing too many workflow issues, I will bring back 4G data to all devices." The CIO was there and said, "CIO, you're going to XYZ area and you'll be riding with PJ. Pay attention to how he uses his 4G data, and if you think we should go back to the old plan where all devices had 4G. The CIO went into the field with me, and on the third day at breakfast he said, "Last night I called the CEO." And I said, "Yeah?" And he said, "I made a recommendation that we go back to our old data plan and ensure all our devices have 4G data. It's obviously creating productivity issues, and when you look at the cost per user, it's not that great." FHQ, do you still work there? If so, why not? No, I don't work there anymore. I was much better at maintaining and growing existing clients than acquiring new ones. The company ended up buying another company and started laying people off and made acquiring new businesses more important than maintaining the current business, meaning I was gonna be let go, so I quit and switched jobs before they fired me. Sounds like a great CEO. He is what I wish all CEOs would be. Comments. Well, he's still a ruthless business person. I'll give you an example of what he did to a lot of managers when he bought out his competitor. He basically had a lot of redundancy and a lot of managers on rock-solid employment contracts, which he couldn't just lay off, so he took the managers with those contracts and turned them into phone reps. Imagine being a sales manager or even a VP and getting a call and being told you're no longer a manager or a VP and you're demoted. Not even an outside sales rep, but an inside phone rep. Those managers obviously did not perform very well after being demoted and would be written up for poor performance and then let go. I know of a VP in the company who was demoted to a phone rep position and literally got written up for poor performance for his first month. Oh, and by the way, he was still getting his VP salary per the contract. They could change his position and duties, but they couldn't not pay him less, and the only way they could fire him would be through poor performance. Also, another thing he did, he invested a lot in automation during his time, so he could lay off even more people. I had a talk with my manager one day, and he said the CEO was obsessed with revenue/per employee number and was determined to drive that number up. I want to work for them, can give me the company name, etc. No, for two reasons. First reason, the company is currently not hiring and actively laying people off. Their primary revenue comes from small and medium-sized businesses. As you can imagine, due to the economic circumstance, those small businesses can no longer afford to pay their bills, which includes my former employer, and as a result they've had to downsize. I'm sure the company will survive, but they had crazy healthy margins before, and I heard right before the economic downfall, they had a lot of cash on hand for another acquisition of some competitors, which they didn't go through with cause, and I bet they are using that cash to survive. Secondly, I don't want to be doxxed. What is my opinion of this CEO? Well, honestly, nothing but respect. The dude is inspiring and he's also not someone I would not want to be, but he's an obvious work alcoholic. Isn't it usually called workaholic? Anyway, his personal net worth is in excess of $100 million and he doesn't need to work ever again, but according to all the VPs and managers I spoke to, the dude literally works 7 days a week at all hours of the day. Put it this way, he travels so much in his biggest markets, he keeps a car that he bought since it's cheaper and then buying a rental every time he flies in. What did I take away from my time with them? Honestly, I think a lot of companies could learn a lot from this company. Seriously, I mean, why more companies don't force their top leadership to work within the ranks on a regular basis is beyond me. It's one gripe I have with my current employer. This is how he reduced his sales staff. When he bought out the competitor, he removed all sales objectives. He then made maintaining current/growing current client worth 1x he made, acquiring new clients worth 5x. Also, losing revenue cost you 1.5x. Everyone was ranked against everyone, and he placed everyone in quadrants. If you fell in the bottom 25% for 2 months in a row, you got laid off. And this created some interesting results. Example, I had a family emergency, so I took off for 1 week. And for that 1 week, I did $0 in business. However, because people who were ranked above me lost revenue, I rose in ranking. And the first week I came back, I closed on a new business, increased revenue, and fell in rank because others around me did more. It created for some depressing performance reviews. A coworker of mine closed decent-sized new business, and he thought for sure that would save his job. However, it didn't because another person sold more than he did, and it kept him in the bottom 25%, and he was fired. Thursday evening, he was so excited about his new account, thinking it saved his job, and Friday afternoon, he let go. And yeah, guys, I gotta say, I'm really conflicted about this story. In the beginning, I thought, wow, this boss is an absolute legend. Not letting the VP pull rank on others is just awesome. But everything afterwards I've heard, that's definitely not a work environment I would want to be in. I don't know about you. That sounds hyper toxic and hyper competitive. It seems a lot of what he does is borderline unethical, and it's almost employee abuse if you ask me. I mean, I liked how the arrogant VP was treated, but all the other stuff seems insane if you ask me. Let me know in the comments what you think about this CEO. And a user in the comments said, the VP really thought he was the main character until the CEO hit the factory reset button on his career. Imagine studying for years to get an MBA, climbing the corporate ladder, just to get fired over Bluetooth in the passenger seat of a sales rep's car. And another Reddit comment said, the VP was totally out of line for breaking a known company rule, pulling rank and undercutting your commission just to stroke his own ego. He had it coming, but honestly, the CEO sounds like a toxic micromanager who fires people on a whim over a Bluetooth speaker phone call, and you just sat there gloating while a guy got fired on the spot. This company sounds like a dystopian nightmare. Everyone in this story sounds exhausting. And yeah, I gotta agree with the last sentence for sure. The work environment there sounds incredibly exhausting. Definitely not for me. Let me know in the comments whether you would be able to work in such a company. Anyway, the next one is titled, "Don't tell me your designer knows what she is doing. She clearly doesn't." Posted on r/MaliciousCompliance. So at the time I was working for a direct mail company that also had a 17-foot Canon color laser printer, so we could do specialty print jobs. I'd been in marketing for 15 years at that point, and while I was not a graphics designer, I knew enough to have intelligent conversations with real designers. A quick graphic design lesson: when designing for printed products, you cannot put anything behind your photos or graphic elements. That is, if you stick a blue background behind a photo, your printer thinks it's supposed to print the photo at the background. The photo will look like it's at the bottom of a swimming pool, and to avoid this you have to cut out a box the size of the photo, called a knockout, and put the photo inside the box. That way you don't print the blue background under the photo. Got it? Anyone who understands how to design for print knows that one simple trick. I had a marketing agency as a new client, and my contact was the son of the owner, and he thought he was hot crap. It took everything I had not to roll my eyes whenever I met with him. We will call him Johnny Bigshot. Johnny Bigshot wanted 500 brochures for a big real estate agency client. It was only $250, so not a very big job. No problem, I said. Does your graphic designer know how to design for print? Oh sure, she just graduated from college and has her degree in graphic design. Sure, but most people don't print things anymore, so most designers don't learn it. So are you sure she knows how to design for print? Johnny Bigshot assured me that yes, his designer was also hot crap and knew her stuff. So when you get her file, just print out the order. Don't mess with it at all, he said. I rolled my eyes in the car so hard I saw the back of my skull. The file the designer sent over had large black polka dots as a background on the entire page, with a large red box in the middle. My production manager showed me the sample, and you guessed it, the black polka dots showed through the red box. Should I fix this? Asked the production manager. Oh no, I said, smiling. Johnny Bigshot was very specific about not messing with it. I told her about Johnny Bigshot's designer, and she cackled with evil delight. She printed the job, and our delivery driver delivered it that same day. A few hours later I got an angry phone call from Johnny Bigshot demanding my presence at the agency. I showed up, and there's Johnny Bigshot white-knuckle clutching one of the offending brochures. "What the hell is this?" he demanded, winding up to make this whole thing my fault. I know, I said. It looks like crap, doesn't it? You're damn right it does. Why does it look like this? I paused, took a breath and said, "Do you remember when I kept asking whether your designer knew how to design for print?" "Yeah." "And you told me that she absolutely without question understood all of that?" "Yeah." He wasn't sure where this was going, but he was not liking it. "Well, she doesn't," I said, "because people who know how to design for print know that you never put a background behind other graphic elements. They know that you need a knockout behind the photo." "Yeah, but…" "And we did not fix the problem on our end because you told us to absolutely not touch it at all." "Yeah, but…" "If you would like, we can rerun the job for you, and even though it was your error," he gave a pained gurgle, "we will rerun the job for half the cost." "Half?" exclaimed Johnny Bigshot. "My boss wanted to charge the full amount, but I talked him into half for you." He didn't. I hadn't. "Just have your designer fix the problem and resend it, and we'll get it done for you tomorrow." We could have fixed the error actually, but I wanted the hotshot designer to learn how to fix her own error, so she didn't make it again. She fixed it actually, and we ran the job early the next morning, and I hand-delivered it to the client myself by lunchtime. Our client was happy, their client was happy, and they always gave us print-ready work from then on. And the next one is also from r/MaliciousCompliance and is titled, "Reception lady thinks my father does not know English. He gives her what she expects." So this interesting encounter happened to my father sometime in the mid-90s. My family is Malaysian and my father worked as a civil engineer and still is. He led his company's hydro department and was responsible for contracting supplies for his turbine project. Looking for a supplier, a good college friend of his was the managing director of a turbine company based in Texas, and he personally invited my dad to meet and survey some products at his company there for his upcoming hydro project. Now, the thing about my family and most Malaysians in general is that we are fluent in English, it is our second language, and with my dad studying engineering in Sunderland for 4 years, I could definitely say his English is way above others. And by the way, shout out to Malaysia, I absolutely love that country, and indeed, most of the people there are fluent in English. Also, the food is absolutely brilliant. Anyway, so my father and some of his employees took the trip from Kuala Lumpur to Houston, and the first thing they faced when entering the company's lobby was this American lady at the reception. She looked at my father's Asian complexion and condescendingly tried to take on a stereotypical Asian accent to attempt to communicate with him. My dad's co-workers behind him were like, "Oh no, she didn't," and were embracing themselves for the inevitable comeback at this racist remark. Then my dad smugly decided to play along and conversed with her in Asian broken English for roughly 50 minutes just to mess with her. Just as she was reaching her limit with him, the MD, her boss, came down to the lobby and enthusiastically greeted my dad from afar with, "Yo, OP's dad, you made it!" My dad dropped the Asian act and returned his greeting out loud in completely fluent English. Confused and embarrassed, she became speechless and her face turned bright red in silence at the situation. The MD invites my dad upstairs to his office for the meeting, while my dad's workers were holding in their laughter as they followed him to the upstairs for the meeting. My dad later told his MD friend about the whole situation in the lobby, and the MD profusely apologized for her behavior, but my dad was a good sport and had fun messing with her. By the way, later that month, my dad came back for another meeting and found out that the MD took no excuses from her and actually fired her that very same week for basically insulting their foreign customers. And the next one is another malicious compliance story, but this one is titled "Cheaper to pay with cash? Fine, have it your way." So for some context, I usually pay with things using my credit card. I find that it's way more convenient than carrying cash. This one restaurant, though, that I usually go to, has recently started a policy that I don't like. I'm constantly reminded of this policy by one snooty cashier. Every time she rings you up, she says the total, and then she makes a big production of seeing the credit card, hits another button, and then says a higher total. She then smiles and says, "Just a reminder, it is cheaper to pay with cash." Well, today, I put this policy to the test. When she did her little head bob of recognition at my credit card, I put it away and said, "Actually, I'm paying cash today." I pulled nearly 60 quarters out of my pocket and I set them on the counter. She looked like someone had just thrown up all over her. That fake cheeriness she typically has when touting the policy completely evaporated. I turned to the folks behind me, smiled sweetly, and said, "Sorry guys, it's cheaper to pay with cash." As the seconds turned into minutes, I just kept repeating the, "Sorry guys, they get charged a fee to use credit cards. It's cheaper to pay with cash, okay?" And yeah, it's not about the money for me, it's about the principle of it. Cards are easier, cleaner, and more convenient, and as the cashier found out in a very visceral way as she counted the quarters. And yeah, the whole thing reminded me of those old commercials that compelled me to get the credit card in the first place. Price of a meal with cash, $14.30. Price of a meal with card, $14.87. The look on that snooty Karen's face was absolutely priceless. And yeah guys, thanks for watching, I will see you again tomorrow, and don't forget to like the video if you also like to pay in cash.